We're spending 48 hours in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and packing in a little bit of everything. Come with us as we wander through the botanical gardens, stroll the UNC campus, chase down the famous BLT sandwich at Merritt's Grill, enjoy the local art, and sample some standout restaurants. We even squeeze in a stop at the arcade. This weekend is all about exploring the heart and soul of Chapel Hill with a local college student as our guide. Come on, let's go. Randy and I took a quick trip to North Carolina to visit our son, who is a student at UNC. We had just 48 hours, but we packed a lot in. We're walking on Battle Branch Trail from Community Park, and it says it's 1.4 miles to the campus, so we'll see. We started day one walking through Battle Park, an old-growth forest with walking trails. The 93-acre park is managed by the North Carolina Botanical Garden, and it borders the UNC campus. Oh, I love the sounds of the forest. Wow. While we were walking along the trails, we found a map of the area, and it listed a castle, and we thought, we want to go see that. We didn't know anything about it, but we set off towards the castle. We followed the signs to Glendon Drive, and now we're on a residential road. We're headed to the castle. We're on Glendon Drive still, headed to the castle, and we found another castle. As big as a castle. The houses are really beautiful on this street. So we weren't able to see the castle because the road is closed for construction. I think it's also a private driveway and it says no trespassing, so probably you can maybe never see the castle. We did see this cool face. We were disappointed not to see the castle, but as we were walking back to our Airbnb, we did stumble upon this forest theater, which is also in Battle Park. Outdoor drama was first performed here in 1916 to honor the 300th anniversary of Shakespeare's death. Pretty cool. We had planned to grab breakfast at a cute coffee shop near our Airbnb, but it was closed. And as we were trying to decide what to do for breakfast, we saw the sign for Sunrise Biscuit Kitchen and decided to stop there. It turned out to be a fantastic decision. They have a walk-up window. You can order or drive-through. Sunrise Biscuit Kitchen is primarily a takeaway restaurant. They did have one picnic table out front if you wanted to eat there. The menu items were all very affordable, and the biscuits were excellent. So good, in fact, that we stopped there again for breakfast on day 2. We want to be staying at the Village Green condominiums where we're staying so that you can carry your biscuit home. After breakfast, we were off to the North Carolina Botanical Garden, a free public garden that's open Tuesday through Sunday. In mid-October, the garden has a completely different feel, and we loved it. The summer greens had faded into warm fall tones, and even without everything in full bloom, the garden was beautiful and peaceful. Since we were visiting in the fall, we got to see Sculpture in the Garden, an annual exhibit that showcases local artists. There were so many fabulous art pieces throughout the park. It's definitely worth a visit any time of year, but especially in the fall if you also want to see the art pieces. The coyote is made out of old tools, pieces of maybe car equipment, and it's chasing.
You take it for granted.
A bunny. This is Chimp King by David Hinkle. Oh look, there's little bees on the bottom. So cool. Paul Green's cabin sits on the grounds of the Botanical Gardens. He was the author of several plays, including The Lost Colony. The cabin was a quiet writing retreat for him. He had it on his property, and it's open to the public. You can go in and see memorabilia and information on Paul Green's life. Whether you're a plant lover, an art lover, or just someone looking for a calm, peaceful spot to explore, this garden is a must-see gem in Chapel Hill. And as a bonus, it's free. Next up was Merritt's Grill for their famous BLT sandwich. Merritt's Grill has been serving food since 1929. Initially, it was a lunch counter at the back of a gas station. In the last century, the lunch counter has evolved into a thriving restaurant thanks to the Love Sandwich, also known as a BLT. Merritt's Grill has been featured in numerous food magazines, and it's the go-to spot for students, locals, and visitors, all lining up for the legendary sandwich that's stacked high and made exactly the same way every time. It's a busy place, and there's limited indoor seating, but plenty of outdoor seating. Despite the line, the service was fast and friendly. If you like BLTs, don't miss Merritt's Grill. With full stomachs, it was time for some more walking, so we headed to the UNC Chapel Hill campus to check out the area. I mentioned earlier that we were in North Carolina visiting our son, who is a student at UNC, and he gave us a tour of some of the cool spots on campus. There's so much history on that campus, and I was in heaven. For all you fellow history buffs, UNC at Chapel Hill is the oldest public university in the nation. We stopped by the Old Well, a water source for the area since 1795. In 1897, UNC President Edwin Alderman wanted to add a little beauty to the campus, and he had a rotunda with 8 fluted Doric columns and a copper dome built to cover the well. In 1953, the structure was renovated, but it still closely resembles the original rotunda commissioned by Alderman. Here we are at the iconic Old Well on the UNC campus. And if you drink out of the fountain, you will have good luck. Oh, look, there's a graduate getting his picture taken right now. Randy's taking a drink from the Old Well. He says it's good. Another iconic landmark on the campus is the Moorhead-Patterson Bell Tower that was built in 1931. It is 172 feet tall with 14 bells. During the bell tower climb, seniors can climb the 128 steps to the top of the tower and sign their name in a book. There's a UNC campus myth that Moorhead, who partially funded the bell tower, purposely requested that the tower be placed right behind Wilson Library, so that it would appear that the library has a dunce hat on when standing on the steps of South Building. Some fun campus lore. We also stopped to see Old East, the first building on campus. The cornerstone was laid on October 12, 1793. Old East has now been renovated into a residence hall. I loved wandering around the campus, but eventually we got hungry and it was time to eat again, so we headed to Al's Burger Shack. Al's is a local favorite and was recently ranked the best burger in America by TripAdvisor, so we had to stop and sample the goods. The locally sourced food is made fresh and cooked to order, plus you can personalize your order with a variety of house-made dipping sauces, including spicy ranch and their signature Al sauce. We were eating there on a Friday night, and it was really busy, but the service was fast. I think we waited probably 20 minutes for our burgers, but that's because they're cooked to order, so I would rather them be fresh. Everyone who ate burgers, which was everyone except me, all said that they were really good and gave it 2 thumbs up. Next door to Al's Burger Shack is the Baxter Bar and Arcade, a cool hangout with over 50 vintage arcade and pinball machines. They had Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Frogger. It was like stepping back in time to step into this arcade. Randy and I thought it was amazing. Randy is a pinball fanatic, and he was definitely in his happy place. And the Simpsons. And Centipede. Oh no. Randy's putting his whole body into it. Look at that. It's a hardcore pinball player. The staff was super friendly, and there's a resident cat named Pie Pan. Need I say more? There's a little arcade cat just wandering around with the arcade. Where's the cat going? Where'd he go? Oh. The arcade was so much fun that we went back the next night, too. We started day 2 with a walk through Pritchard Park, where the Chapel Hill Public Library is located. Unfortunately, it was early and the library was still closed, but we enjoyed the walking trails and the wildlife. Let us know what you think this is. We're thinking maybe it's a trash panda. Little raccoon made out of recycled materials. Because look at that face. We're at the Chapel Hills Library and we're taking the story walk. And it says, come back each month for a new book. And the book this month, in October 2025, is Hidden Gem by Linda Liu. In the park surrounding the library, there's a story walk for children, which you just saw, various musical instruments along the trail, and several nature play areas, including a bird viewing area. It's a great spot for all ages. You can veer off from the story walk and walk on several trails around the library if you want a little bit of a longer walk. We found a baby deer in the forest. There it goes. Where are your friends? There's a baby deer's mom. All is right with the world. We stumbled upon Pritchard Park kind of by accident. We just happened to be walking around the area near our Airbnb and we saw a sign for it. It's a great spot, especially if you're traveling with kids, so check it out. After our morning exploration, it was time for an early lunch, and we stopped at one of our son's favorite spots, Pizzeria Mercato, which is actually in Carborough, right next to Chapel Hill. The restaurant uses fresh ingredients that are sourced from the local farmers market right across the street. The menu is seasonal, and every dish we tried was delicious. Not far from the restaurant, we found a Matt Willey mural. A couple years ago, I read an article about Matt Willey, who has a global art project called The Good of the Hive, and he has committed to hand painting 50,000 honeybees and murals around the world in order to raise awareness for bees. And after I read that article, I really wanted to see some of his murals, and there happens to be one on the Carborough Fire Station, not far from Pizzeria Mercato. Randy and I did a separate video on Matt Willey and his murals, and also Thomas Dambo's trolls, which are in North Carolina too. If you're interested in that video, I will link it above. After the mural, we went to the Ackland Art Museum on the UNC campus. This free museum has a really fascinating story. It was founded and built with money that was bequeathed by William Hayes Ackland, who passed away in 1940, with the stipulation that he be buried in the museum in a marble sarcophagus, which he is. I love outdoor art, sculptures, murals. I'm not a huge indoor art museum person, but I had to go to this museum because it had such a fascinating story about Ackland being buried in the museum. The museum has a lot of beautiful artwork, and it's definitely worth a stop. Plus, it's free and available for the public to enjoy, so we should all go and enjoy it. After the art museum, I really wanted to walk along Franklin Street and check out some of the historic homes in the area, and we started at the Horace Williams house. The house was built in 1854, and it is the only historic house open to the public in Chapel Hill. The house has its original woodwork, floors, ceiling, and mantels. There's a little box outside the Horace Williams house that has walking tour maps, so you can take one and then walk along and see all the cool houses. This house on Franklin Street is the oldest house, or considered to be the oldest house in Chapel Hill. Built in 1798, I believe. You can tell this house is on the historic tour district because there's a little plaque right under the light. This is the Love House, which is across the street from the Widow Puckett house, the oldest house in Chapel Hill. And the woman who lived here is known for ringing the bell on South Building when the university reopened after the end of the Civil War. I thought this house was especially cool. It was built in 2 stages, and the first part on the right was a Sears kit house, and it was constructed in 1893, and then later an addition was made in 1900 to make the house kind of T-shaped. If you like historic homes, I highly recommend picking up the self-guided walking map and just walking along Franklin Street and checking out all the cool houses. We ended day 2 at Lanza's Café, my son's favorite coffee shop in the area, for a hot drink and a scone. The coffee shop has a great vibe and definitely a fun community hangout with board games and puzzles. Then we headed back to the arcade to get our game on. Randy and I had a fantastic 48 hours in Chapel Hill. Thanks so much for coming along with us. See you next time. And like always, there's still a little nugget left to come. The dog is saying, "You're going the wrong way." No. We have a great sense of direction, right, Randy?
Absolutely.
Yep, we're going the right way.
Where are we?